The Earth's surface is 71% water, but that water is not always in the right place. So, since ancient times, humans have invented ways to move it from where it is to where it needs to be. Here's a historian to tell you more.
It's well known that human civilization started in ancient Mesopotamia. Despite being a very arid and dry area, the people of the time invented ways to move and store water from two nearby rivers, which allowed them to irrigate the land.
This irrigation system boosted the production of grains, which were then added to water and eventually fermented. Then, boom, the greatest invention of all time, beer, was born. Just have a look at many ancient carvings of the time, and you will see people huddled around a keg, holding stone solo cups, arguing about who has the best tap room east of the Tigris River. Fast forward thousands of years, and it was the pursuit of clean water that led to the establishment of Wisconsin as a brewing powerhouse. Despite an abundance of water in the state, it's still sometimes in the wrong place. And when that happens, just like in ancient times, it has to be moved. Thus, the latest water project in Wisconsin is now underway. The relocation of Lake Louie from Verona, Wisconsin to Verona, Wisconsin. Some may wonder why this is such an important water project. Actually, just about everyone who hears about the project asked, "What the are you talking about?" Here's Tom Porter.
So about 20 years ago, I lost my mind, cashed in my 401k, and started a brewery right here in my garage. I named the brewery Lake Louie after the lake that's on the property. And the lake is named after my Uncle Louie.
Much like the ancient Mesopotamians, Tom knew that starting a brewery near water would be critical. Not because he wanted to use the water for brewing, that would be gross. He simply wanted to fish between brews. 19 years later, Tom's life came full circle. He sold his brewery to Wisconsin Brewing Company so that he could retire. The irony. Lake Louie beers are now made at Wisconsin Brewing Company's fancy big brewery in Verona, over 30 miles from Tom's home in Arena. Thus, Lake Louie Lake sits without a brewery in Arena. While in Verona, Lake Louie beers are brewed next to a lake with no name. Something had to be done. Lake Louie must be moved. Here's brewmaster Kirby Nelson.
All right, so we realized if we're going to produce Lake Louie beers here, we need Lake Louie to be part of our premises. So we've got to move the lake. But how? We approached two men in a truck, Lake Louie division. We couldn't afford them. So I'm starting to have a couple, 2-3 beers, and it hits me. The solo cup. The solo cup is similar to what the ancient Mesopotamians drank out of. So let's do a relay from Arena, Lake Louie, to the new Lake Louie in Verona. And the analogy would be, think Olympic torch relay, but these people aren't athletes, and there's going to be no torch, but there will be some of us lit up.
Here's how it will work. Tom Porter will start the journey by getting out of bed on a Saturday morning in Arena. He'll grab a solo cup and fill it with Lake Louie water. He will walk it to the end of his driveway and hand it off to the next person. Here's Ellen Weiler.
So what we did is we told 30 volunteers that they had to do this. We'll make our way over the hills and through the woods, stopping about halfway at Riley's Tavern to refuel. Then we'll march on to Verona, where Kirby will grab the cup of water at our brewery and pour it into our lake here, thus completing the latest and perhaps most useless water project in the history of Wisconsin and the world.
From that point forward, Lake Louie will be in its new home, right next to the brewery in Verona. That's what the we are talking about. So, what happens to the pond on Tom's land in Arena? We're not sure. And when we asked Tom what he plans to do, he said, "Get off my property! I'm retired!"